Hey guys, welcome back to Paint with Josh. Today we did a gorgeous 16 by 20 inch desert scene with a full moon. It turned out fantastic. I know you think so. That's why you clicked on the link. You want to learn how to paint this one. So check the description down below. Make sure you get all the colors you need. Make sure you get your canvas nice and wet. Get ready to throw some paint on it. Let's do it just like this. Hey guys, Paint with Josh back in the studio. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to finish up this moon that we already posted the other day. Now, you can do literally anything you want to do, but first things first, let's get this old guy out of the frame, right? Now, you can literally push them right out, just like that. Pop that sucker out, and then we'll be ready to go paint on it, right? Put it back in the frame by the time we get done. So let's set this guy off to the side, off to the edge, slide him up in here, slide it down over there. Let's get it all locked in, ready to go. Now, this is gonna be a literally every single step video, so you're gonna see every single step. Okay, that's what you want, that's what you get. Now remember to tell me where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? As we come in here. Now I know a lot of you guys have done the clear before, and you know how to put it on, and you know how to stretch it out and get it all over the canvas. So before you scroll forward in the tutorial, at least give me a thumbs up and a like, share, at least comment something before you go scrolling, right? Now, as we spread all this across, if this is your first time ever using the clear, you'll notice how it gets very dark. Covers up that black area and makes the dark even darker. It's almost like a varnish, really. Makes the darks even darker than they were before. Covers everything in this nice slick oil paint, and that way everything will slide across and blend like we want it to anyway, right? If you tried to paint with our thick oil paints on the bare canvas, you're gonna have a hard time because it doesn't like to stretch and move when it's on a bare canvas or a bare board anyway. Got to have this clear oil blending medium, as they call it, and what that does is allow it to move and slide and blend all over the place. So once we get our whole little board covered up all the way, make sure it's nice and even. You go across it a couple times. That way you make sure that you have good coverage, right? Otherwise it'll kind of dry spotty in different areas, and it's just a little weird, especially on these boards. It kind of sucks in the paint very quickly compared to a canvas, and they dry very fast. So once we get the clear all onto the board, again, tell me where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? Now we're going to grab a couple bits of paper towel, fold them into a square, and with a firm amount of pressure, trying to remove the majority of that clear paint. It's very sticky when it goes on, like syrup. Very sticky like syrup when it goes on. And when you wipe it off, and the thinner it gets, the more slick it gets. It's like a magic trick. It's crazy. Now, let's wash off our brush. If you don't know how to wash off the brush, now, let's clean off this brush, and then go back and start adding all of our undercolors. What do you want your scene to look like? You kind of got to plan it out now in order for all of those colors to light up and shine through, right? Now, what I do is use odorless mineral spirits. We dip it into the cup just a little bit into the brush. Little bit, not all the way up here, right? Little teeny tiny touch. Flick it into a trash can and then go into the beater bucket. Just beat the devil out of it onto the bucket, right? If you've never seen what the bucket looks like, maybe this is your first time, that's what the bucket looks like. It's nasty. It's got a golf ball basket down in the bottom of it, and that just gives me a crisscross area that I can beat the devil out of the brush and not have to worry about spraying it all over the house in the studio, right? Now, we're going to dry our brush off, come back in here, pick up a little bit of paint. What do you want your scene to look like? You know what looked really cool was that kind of reddish, brownish desert scene that we did last night, so let's do that. Let's come over here. We need to get some more paint, if that's the case. We got to get some paint out of the old box. Like I said, do you guys want to see every step? This is literally every step. You get to see it all, for everything from squeezing the paint tubes to putting them onto the palette. I don't cut anything out of these every single step videos because, like I said, you're watching it to see every single step. You want to see it. It's coming at you. It's coming at you. We need to get a little of our dark paint as well. So we'll get the black, we'll get the crimson, we'll get the blue mix. Have enough white, put some brown on our palette as well, because, where's my brown? Where's the brown? Ah, here it is. It's almost empty, that's why. Ah, Maybe we'll just use the very last bit that we can pop out of the tube until it's completely emptied out. Throw that guy away. Now, we're gonna need 2 bits of brown. If you're gonna use the one brown, you gotta use the other brown as well. So, the first brown is the dark sienna, or the lighter color of the browns, and the next one is the Van Dyke brown, which is the darkest color of the browns. Right, so if you're using raw umber or burnt umber, lighter color, darker color. 2 different browns on the canvas. Let's come in here with a bit of our yellow ochre. Just like that. It's been a minute since we've done a desert scene. On YouTube anyway. A little of our crimson, a little of the blue, and then we'll be ready to paint. I swear, guys. I swear. A little crimson, a little blue. We'll be here. We'll be painting. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. It's going to be fun. Or we'll be looking down Josh's ear hole. Either way. We're going to be having a good time. I hope there's nothing in there that you guys can see. All right, let's come back. Now that everyone's left the TikTok stream, camera's looking good over there on YouTube. Okay, now we're going to come in here like this, grabbing up whatever color that we want it to be underneath, right? So let's grab a little red, a little brown. We're going to mix these guys together. It's a very reddish brown color, depending on how much you get. Right, we're going to take this guy out here, and we're going to start to dump him out, kind of cover everywhere except our moon. Don't touch your moon back there. That's not going to be a good one. You go touch your moon. Now, I'm not going to have so much paint up in here, so if you've got a lot on the brush, let's get rid of it. Let's remove it by putting it down anywhere that we can. Right, the harder you push on the brush, the more you're going to move that paint around, and then we can start very lightly kind of covering over the rest. Because I don't want to hit our moon, but I do want to have some sort of paint around everywhere around the canvas, just so it'll dry the same, you know what I mean? You don't want to have a light area, and if we get a little touch of color across our moon, you can literally go wipe it off with a paper towel. Because there's nothing on this moon, it's just the acrylic paint that we'd already done in that previous video, which I've already attached to this video. You've already seen it, right? So, just like this, stretching it out, getting it all crazy brownish red. And let's go into more brown, maybe a little of our crimson and a little of the black, all on the brush, all at the same time. All 3 colors. Bing, bang, boom. Throw it in down here. It's a little deeper, a little darker, a couple little different areas that we can have. We don't want to have too much paint on the canvas, remember. Now, one little touch of our Van Dyke brown, which is probably one of the thickest paints that you can get in the Bob Ross set anyway. It's one of the thickest colors. Just hard to move around and blend. Just like that, right up next to our moon. A little bit of darkness around it, and gorgeous. Looking just very cool. Now, let's go wash off our brush again. We'll get to painting. We'll get to painting. This time, I actually need to show you. I need to fill up my cup. It's very, very, very low. So, this will be a good chance for you to see exactly what we use and exactly how to fill up yours, right? Now, this is Odorless Mineral Spirits by Clean Strip, okay? It's fantastic stuff. That's what I like to use. You can get it for like $9.99. They lowered the price. They cut the price in half by what they're selling these for. They used to be $17, and now they're $9.99. Now watch. Have you ever taken one of these and you pour it and it like glugs and spits out the bottom? Well, if you turn it over and pour it from the top, it pours nice and smoothly because you create that air bubble up there, right? Just a little tip from old Paint with Josh. Now, we'll come back over here, put this guy away. Again, you wanted to see every single step. That's what you get. We'll come over here and clean this brush off. Now, normally, I like to show you that you can see all the color, but this cup's a little old. So, our level is about this high, and then we're going to take our brush, dip it in just the smallest bit, pull it out, right, and then spin it inside the cup so it retains all of that excess thinner. It hits the side of the cup and it falls down. That's why it starts to change the color of the glass over the while. Or your plastic cup, or whatever you want. Shake it off into a can, and you can still see it's very wet. It's still full of color. So we come in here to the old beater bucket and beat the devil out of the old brush. And then you dab it off on a paper towel. Always got to dab it off on a paper towel. Just get in the habit of dabbing it off on a paper towel after you clean it every time. Now here comes the fun part, guys. Let's come in here. Let's take a little of our white. Let's go throw some clouds off in the distance. just a little cloudiness off in the distance. Now, I don't want to come across my moon too much, but sometimes you do have to push it back. What if we popped in like a little cumulus nimbus kind of guy up here? We're going to work on him for a minute. All right, we pop him in, take our 1-inch brush, start working it down. Working it up, working it down. You get this brownish, reddish, whitish color. And the more you push on it, the more it'll fade down. All right, let's get a little bit more paint on the brush. We'll come back, just like this, pop up into the shadowy areas. Bang, bang. Maybe we make him a little fatter underneath, right? But leaving a little shadowiness in between him, because you're going to have all these depthy areas the more and more and more you do it. Now, don't worry about coming up and hitting your moon. We're going to get real close, and if you go over it, that's fine. You don't have to worry about it. You're barely going to see it if you go over it with your cloud brush anyway. Just like that, softly leaving little dark areas in between little places. If you got a real bright area, you can take it and mush it, push it until it loosens, you know, or darkens down to however much you want it to darken down. A little bit more white paint on the brush. Come back over here. And what if we had a guy down into here? Again, leaving little bits, not dropping on too much. Pop up into wherever we had our color, right? We don't want to go up where we don't have our color. That's going to be bad. Our paint will be super bright white, and there won't be any way to blend it down because there's no color underneath it, right? Down in here, covering up some of the moon. Not too many little moon details, but some of them you got to get rid of, right? Back in here, over here, a little bit harder of a push. Mix those guys together a bit more. The more that we smash onto the paint, right? The more you blend it in down here, the more it starts to blend away, goes away with all those dark colors that are already on the canvas. Everything is already wet, right? If your cloud's a bit too bright, you can literally pick up some dark paint from underneath, come up in here and start to darken it down, change it. Maybe we'll do that over here too. I like that. Down in there, a couple little spaces that just aren't all the same, right? Mix it up a bit. Couple little areas. Very cool. Now, what if this guy, what if we just started, like you can literally almost see the desert right underneath the clouds as it's starting to build itself outward, right? It's looking really, really neat. Now, we've got all this brownish color. You can even come up with a little bit more brown into your sky if you wanted to. You know what I mean? And change what it looks like. A little brown on top of that white. You can add some dark colors. You can add some bits of red and brownish color. All in there. Make it look however you want it to look. Remember, it's no one else's painting but your own. Doesn't have to look like Uncle Paint with Josh's, right? Doesn't have to look like your mom's or your dad's or your friends or whoever's. Doesn't have to. You can change up and do whatever you want to do. Now, I'm going to wipe off my brush. I'm not going to really clean it. Just going to wipe off the excess onto a paper towel. And now let's go up and decide, maybe we had some faraway little mesa type bluffs. So what are those three colors that we mix up in order to create like a very deep darkness? Just the deepest darkness you've ever seen. Those three color mix. You guys know already. Type it into the comments. What are those colors that we like to mix? It makes this very deep dark plurkle, like a purple black color. Plurkle is what we're going to call it. No, not Urkel, plurkle. You're getting it all mixed up. Let's come over here like this. What if we had, just off in the distance, what if we had this flat mesa style thing, right? Take some of our guy out here. It's like an anomaly out here on this mesa. Just dropping it down little bit by little bit. Flatter and flatter and flatter. Pull it off to this guy. Right? And we got a little hump here, a little bump there. It's not all perfectly flat. Just like so, right? Sliding all of our dark paint out, pulling it down, and then we'll start to build a little mesa top deal over here, right? Take the darkness, start to slide it out. You get to decide where you want it to be, right? Maybe this guy comes straight down. Maybe he hits, maybe he slides over here. Not everything is going to all be exactly the same. Pulling off the side over here. Maybe we got our flat top. It's coming off straight over the edge, right? Just sliding it down in different directions. Maybe we take a bit more of our dark paint. Come down underneath here. Had a little ridge, right? Very cool little things start to happen. You start to build little crazy bits of mountain out there, right? Now, let's take a small bit of our brown, a little bit of our yellow ochre, just a little touch. We'll mix it up out here. We want it to be sort of harder to see. It's a little further away, a little bit of our dark mix as well, right? And then take a very, very, very small little scrape of that guy. Little teeny little line, little smallest bit you can ever touch. And then maybe off here we'll let go and we'll see what it starts to look like, right? My fingers are most of the time getting paint onto them because of how closely we're holding the knife to the canvas. There's another bit of paint, I just felt it. Why do you think we wear gloves? Come down over here, straight down on those little super peaks off in the distance, right? Maybe a little touch off of the back, not too bright. Just a little bit, roll it down, slide it off in those directions like we were pulling it down. These far away rocks, they don't have to have all the detail, all the bits. We just want to light up some areas so it's not like a silhouette. If it's just a dark silhouette out there and you can't really see much, right, then what are we looking at, right? And it will make it easier for us to see our closer areas as we get closer. Now, if you did want to brighten it up in some areas, go back with a little bit of the yellow ochre, right? Mix that into our color, bring it down here. In little places, we can start making a little brighter, coming off of certain areas, not making everything all the same, right? Down in here, letting it pick up on different spots onto that brown. Differently. A little bit lighter color, you can see it a little bit easier. If it's a bit too bright, go back in and work it out a little touch. Leaving dark areas in between. You're not trying to make everything all the same. If everything's all the same, then we're going to be having a bad deal. That's a bad day when we got everything that's all exactly the same. All right, so a little bit of our dirt coming off the back. We got a wicked cool little mountain over here. Now, let's see what it'll look like if we took a bit of our white. Actually, you know what? Let's go clean this brush off. Let's clean this brush because it's got that darker color on there from the mountain, which is going to make my white kind of be gray, and that's not what we want. Let's come over here. Since we got our crazy little bit, let's grab a bit of that white, like I said, and it should interact with all these colors down here. See how you start to grab it, and we're sliding it in, we're pushing it back up towards that mountain, and it's turning in that reddish, pinkish, brownish color. Whatever color that we have laid underneath is what it's going to look like. All right, come back in here. Take these guys very lightly, swipe them down. We don't need to see every single bit of every single piece of rock that's way off in the distance. And the more that you mix these guys in with that darkness, the more it's going to start to look pretty cool, guys. Right? Come back in here. A lot of pressure, a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure. Boom. Got this wicked soft little bit of a desert right out here. Now, you can always go back and make it a bit browner, right? If you don't like the color of your underside, maybe you didn't get it as bright as you wanted, you can go back, add a little bit of brown here, add a little bit of crimson there, right? All these cool little different things, and then you go back and work them out. Get all these changes, these little slow color gradient changes that go from one color to another color to another color. Maybe come back, a bit more white, brighten up a certain area going down in one way like this, right? Kind of flatten it off down on the side. Not everything's got to be exactly the same. Nothing has to be the same at all. And then we'll come back in, put in some cactuses and stuff. You guys ready for that? Now, let's see. What are we going to do down here is the question. Actually, let's make our mountain come down a little bit further. But in order to do that, you have to have the darkness. Right? If we got a little bit of our dark color, we scrape it down over here, over there, just getting a bit of dark onto it. Okay, come off again with our brownish color that we had mixed up, not just straight brown. Got to go back in, grab up those browns, come back off our little dark area, back off the side, pulling it in different areas, different ways, and then all of a sudden, you can fill up a spot down around the base, right, with new land and have something else be living right down in there, right? All up to us. Now, I don't want it to be so bright down in the back, so we'll get a bit of our black, a bit of our brown, and change that back to a darker kind of shadowy mix. And then we can brighten up the whole front, drag it out in different ways, and have all these little things happening. And then we'll put a couple cactuses and some bushes over here, and we'll call it good. And this one's going to be fantastic. Just fantastic. A little bit of that light color, just to have it be a different change in the land, a little different laying. Oh, it's going to be fantastic. Wicked cool. Now, let's go get some crazy bushy colors onto our brush. Slide these guys out very softly. Boom, boom, boom. Very neat. Now, So we need our darkness and we need a big old bushy brush. Now remember, you gotta tell me where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? Bang! Just like that. We'll get our brush into this deep darkness, our deepest, darkest color, and maybe, who knows, out on the horizon, maybe a little bit below the horizon, we had this soft little guy, boom, out there, right? You want another one? Make him a little bit bigger. Pop him in a little bit closer, right? How far do you bring the base down? That's how far and how close things are gonna be. Why don't we grab this guy, pull him off in one direction, pull him off in the other direction. Put this far off little thing back here, right? Now, I don't want to make him too big or too noticeable because we're going to put a cactus right down in front of him on this bigger guy, right? Say this guy, the more we take and slide it out, we'll get these little shadows off in one way, we'll drag out the color in the other way, coming down just like this. So you have this rounded, sort of more 3D looking feel to your bush because you're pulling it in different directions. It's not just a straight across bottom, right? And then we'll come in, see if we got any more paint on the brush. We'll pop in this monster right in here. Big old monster of a bush, right? A little bit bigger, little separation in between the two so you can tell which is which, right? And then we'll come back in and highlight both of them and put a big old cactus right in the big one right here. Pulling it down, pulling it away, the other side, over here, over there, and get these really cool little things start to happen. Now, let's clean off the brushes. We'll go back and highlight this, and I'm going to show you a really neat way about doing some cactus. All right, we'll come over here, grab a little bit of our liquid white, just a little touch. A little touch of the liquid white onto the tip top of the brush, and let's go into some farther away things. Maybe a touch of our crimson paint. It's going to bring that liquid white. I'm going to tap it in right into the top, just the tip top of the brush. It's got like a little teeny tiny glob onto it. Right, and then maybe back here, I'm going to come with the lightest pressure because all that paint's immediately going to want to come off onto our little bushes, right? So we don't just want to do it all just one color. Let's flip the brush over now, go back in. Maybe we'll get a bit of our purpley and a bit of our crimsony, maybe a really dark shadowy color back here, maybe underneath our guy, right? Just changing so you have two different bits of color. Now, I really like that combo. Let's come in here. We'll pop a bit of our purpley, crimsony bush off of the back just to act as our shadows, right? And it's going to go right over the top of that darkness and be sort of hard to see until we come back and light it up, right? Now, let's wash that brush off. We'll go back, add our white onto our brush, choose our highlight color, and then go back at these guys just all prettily. And maybe we'll do some, I don't know, I think red and black cactus would be really cool. Let's come over here. Let's change up our color on these dudes. Go into a bit of our brighter red, maybe a touch of our yellow oak, maybe the small little bit of our cadmium yellow. So you got all three of the colors all over the guy. And let's pop off of this way. Over here, little things. See how all these colors come off the brush differently? Because we've loaded them all on, and each time we touch, we drop off the yellow, and then it's the next color, and then it's the red. It's almost like doing an acrylic pour. But we're touching with such a light pressure, guys. Such a light pressure that you'll never even feel it. Just the teeniest, tiniest of pressures. Now, let's come back, get a little bit more of that crimson, a little touch of white, just to brighten it up, smallest bit. Then we're going to work back over that purpley color, just a little touch. Little bits, right? Not everything all the same. Since we're onto that crimson and white color, let's come off of these dudes. Bing, bang, boom. Not trying to let the bushes touch. We got to keep them separate. And we're going to have to wash the brush off. Get that color out of there. Go back onto our yellow and red flowers. It can be really neat. And pop those guys in off the other side, right? So we'll pop into that yellowish, reddish mix, and then a little of our cad yellow on the top. Let these guys start intermixing with those colors that are underneath. Come back in, maybe a little bit more red. Ooh, baby! That's a cool looking one right here. All these beautiful pinky, reddish, yellowy colors. Just gonna light up your day, man. We're gonna light up your whole day. Now, let's see what kind of color we go with for a cactus. Gotta go kind of crazy, in my opinion, for a cactus if we're gonna do it. We gotta do it up big, man. Let's get 2 different Filbert brushes, actually. Is this one going to work? It should work. All right, we're going to get 2 different Filbies. The Filbert is just like a fingertip to me, right? It's just exactly what it looks like, a little fingertip. And let's decide what color we're going to go with for our crazy bits of cacti. Just a little cactus in the distance. You know what we should do? We should go with a normal cactus, because then it'll at least be a good, you'll be able to take what you learned from this video and use it on another video with a normal cactusy color. So we'll come in here, we're gonna mix up a bit of our sap green, just a little bit of it, a little touch of sap, a little bit of our phthalo green, right down in there, and then our touch of our 3 favorite colors. So we gotta mix those up separately over here. So our blue, black, and crimson, and then the phthalo green and the sap green together. We're gonna mix all these guys in, gonna scoop them up, pull them all together, all over the place, get these little bits of skin out of there. I don't use the greens very often, so they tend to form a bit of skin on the top. Now, this is gonna be fun, okay? We got our dark green base. Then, it can actually be a bit darker. Let's put a little bit more black into there. A little bit more black. Mix it down, mix it down, mix it down. You want to have this slight bit of green to that very dark color. It's like a deep forest green color, right? Now, let's make our highlight color. We're going to wipe off our knife, go back in, grab a little of our green again, put it down here, a little of our cad yellow, just like that. Put that guy down in there. We're going to start to mix these guys up. Boom, 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 boom. Little touch of white. Right in there. Now, this will be very cool. You got your shadows and then your highlights, and we're going to do it all in one go. Okay, I'm going to show you on this much further away guy over here. So we're going to take our Filbert brush, just like this. We're going to go through the dark side 1 or 2 times, right? And then we're going to turn the brush over so the clean side contacts the light color. We're going to go through that a couple times. Now you got light on one side of the brush, dark on the other side of the brush. And let's say all of our light was coming from the left, or let's actually in the right in this case, because all of our light's coming down this way. So we're going to take our light color, put it on the right side, and turn the brush vertical. We're not going to have it be flat. It's not going to be flat like this. It's going to be vertical with the light on the one side, shadow on the other. All right, so you come back here, and let's say this far away little guy, we come down and touch just once. Boop. Bang. You got your green, you got your shadows. Wicked cool, right? We'll come back in here, touch into that lighter color on the one side, a little darker color onto the other side. Maybe we had a little teeny tiny arm off of that guy, right? With the dark on the same side. All you gotta do, again, you can wipe it off, come back to our light side, get that white, or our lighter color onto the one side, right? Flip the brush over, darkness onto the other side. And then remember to hold it the correct way. Maybe we come down. That way your brights are going to be on one side, your darks are going to be on the other. And wicked cool. I like to make one. I don't like to have them all be exactly the same height and everything. So we like to make them look a little funkier, right? Now this guy, we could put another one right in here. So back to our light, a little bit of light color. Flip the brush over, a little bit of dark color. Make sure we line it up correctly. Come in here and drop it down, pushing a lot harder though on this guy, so he'll be a little bit fatter. Let's go we'll wipe off all that color. And then again, find our light side, find our dark side, go back, push, and then push in a little bit more, kind of fattening him out a little bit. Fatten him, fatten him, fatten him out, right? This guy's a little bit thicker, a little bit bigger, and then we can do a little bit more with him. We can come back in on the dark side. We can flip it back over to the light side. Maybe we pop off a little arm on this guy way down here. Just by turning, rotating, light, dark, and again, matching up our light and dark, and then coming in, just like that. Very cool. Super simple, guys. Little things that we can do to make little cacti off in our night deserty sky and stuff. I rule the night and stuff. Let's come over here. We need to mix up a bit more of our color, and then we'll do our big one right up here in the front. Actually, let's do them over here Be like Orion's belt over here, right? We'll flick in a few stars into our sky and we'll be all done. So, if we're going to do that, we're going to need to mix up a whole bunch of our dark mix again because we need another bush. So let's get a bit of our 3 dark colors. What are those 3 dark colors that we mix in order to create a deep darkness? The deepest of darknesses. See how much darker it is even than that deeper, darker green that's on our shadowy side of our cactus? Just the darkest of all dark colors. What do we mix in order to do that? Let's give some shout outs over here. Let's get some shout outs going. Airy Fairy, Jess G, Redwing, didn't say it, but I'm sure he knows anyway. Mac knows, Blackberry, Blueberry, and Cranberry. The Nomad has figured out something. Rick Ton knows. Conservative Patriot knows. He's always watching. Always watching. I always feel like Conservative Patriot's watching me. All right, let's come back in. We gotta cut that whole bit out of the tutorial. Just back in it like that. Let's come back in with a bit of our dark color on our little bush making brush. I'm gonna come down here, dabbing it up into the pile, put our palette down, let's come over. Maybe we'll throw in a whole nother monster of a bush right underneath that rock. Now I'm gonna come up a little bit into the rock because you gotta hide some of your stuff. Right? Everything you gotta hide. Take this guy, make him real dark, real thick, real low to the bottom. See how this guy's about an inch up? This guy we're gonna try to make all the way down. So when we pull it out, we'll just have a tiniest little bit, right? Now for our canvas panel here, it sinks down just a little too far to reach. So I'm gonna be very careful. I'm gonna put it up onto the lip of my easel and we're gonna push down just a little bit, just enough pressure to hold it without it shooting out of the thing. You see how it kind of concaves it a little bit? Because it's got a bit of pressure on there. Now, let's come back in, wash off our bushy brush. Gotta get that guy all washed off. Over here, over there. And then we'll come back and highlight all of our bushes. Then we'll throw in our cactus. So, bit of our liquid white, again, onto the tip top of the brush, all we need. And then we got to decide what we want our highlights to look like. Maybe we'll get a little bit darker with this guy. We'll go into, you know what? Let's do some blue and purple. So first I'm going to rotate the brush over so the white is on the bottom, right? As you can see, the white's on the bottom. And I'm going to get into my straight up blue first. Just so the blue's on the top. And I'm going to come off of our side with the blue. And go back in, not trying to touch any bit of white. Just having a bit of blue. Now with that white side, we're going to flip it back over. Go into our purpley bits. Right into the whole pile, come up here with such a light touch. You get this little lavendery, purpley bush, and we don't want to cover up everything. We want to leave those little dark separators, and you can very lightly work it back and back, getting darker and darker and darker as we go backwards, right, into all these bits of dark color back here. And that way it's not all the same. Now let's come in and add one bit of pop, just a pop of color in there, right? What if we came off with our bright red? Bit of bright red, couple little bits pop off of this guy. Over there, over here, here and there and everywhere. Boom, these little red flowers are kind of blowing around in the forest and the desert, and just kind of reaching out their fingers and latching on to other plants and other bits. Just epic, you guys, epic. All right, let's come back in here. Over there, shake this guy off. And then we'll do our cactus and we'll be all done. So, start coming up with a name for this painting, guys. The person that ends up buying it usually gets to pick the name if they buy it during the live show. And you get a free gift on top of that. But, if it doesn't sell during the live show, then I get to choose the name. And so, whoever's got the best title is going to get the shout out and be able to name the Paint with Josh painting. Very cool. All right, let's put our big old cactus in, and we're gonna need to mix up a bit of our green color to do that, right? So we'll get a bit of our phthalo green, a bit of our sap green, and a bit of our, what I use? Oh yeah, the yellow. Bit of the yeller. Come down in there, mix that guy up. That's gonna be our highlight color, remember. We don't want it to be too dark, so we may need to add a bit of our yellow ochre and a bit of our white into this guy too. Just to brighten him up a touch. There we go. all that stuff. And that's what we want to see right there. You guys will have the light, we'll have the dark piles, because we still got enough of the darkness. And I'm going to go into a much larger brush. Okay, this is a much larger Filbert brush, but essentially it's going to do the same thing. We're going to come down on the one side with the dark, flip it over to the one side with the light, and then remember all of our light's over on that side, so we'll come over like this, be a little bit taller, come up here, touch, and just pull down. And the more that we go down, the more we can push in. Boom, just like that, little crazy thing. All right, gonna go wipe off the brush, load it up again. So we got our light on the one side, dark on the other side. Just like that, all right? Come back. Start to shape it however we want it to be. That's how it's gonna be, right? Come back, throw a couple arms off him, and we'll be all good. So, darkness, lightness, flip it over, put the light towards the thing, maybe come out here, pull down, turn, bang, right there. Got a wicked little cactus out in the night. Out in the night. Again, load it up with the dark color. Then go flip it over. Put it into the light color. Then just perhaps get enough paint on the brush. There we go. Maybe you had a little guy. It was way down here. Right there. Just wicked, guys. I love how easy it is to do a cactus. Just honestly. So easy. Oh, this was the PaintWithBram. Shoot, I should have said that. This is the PaintWithBram Filbert. I love it, Bram. It's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, since we're out here on this big old monster of a cactus, I'm going to take a little of my odorless mineral spirits into my dark pile of paint, just like this. Mixing it down, mix it down, mix it down, mix it down, so it's very thin. Then, I'm going to grab my maul stick, come up here, and very lightly, off of our backside anyway, start throwing off little teeny tiny flicks. You can grab into your cactus, you can throw off little flicks, little things. Now, you got to make sure that your brush is very wet, because if it's not, they will not come off very easily, right? Just like that. Try to stay out of your guys' way enough. A couple little bits. You're just kind of dragging that darkness out as many times as you can, just leaving little baby things on there, right? And I'll zoom in and show you guys at the end. Zoom in at the end and show you TikTok, guys. Little bits. The more we go down, the less people are going to be looking for them. Really going to be looking for them up where that light area is. That's pretty much it. All right, so we'll come off the back. This guy has got enough. He's big enough that we can come off of him with a few little flicks. Just where the moon is, where those clouds are. It's going to be really the only place people are looking for it. We're going to finish it down. Let's come off the other side. Just a couple. Not every cactus is going to be exactly the same. Not everyone's going to have all these little spines on every single spot, right? A little bit more of our odorless mineral spirits just to help it come off the brush a little easier. Let's come off the front of this dude. A couple little streakers here and there and here. Not everything. One of them is not even connected. That looks pretty cool. It's not even connected to the canvas, to the cactus. Not even touching it. Come off the back of this guy again. Very quick little flicks. Sometimes we don't even drag anything out. Sometimes we drag out a good line. Sometimes we don't. You can go up, you can go down, you can go around the edge, pulling off these little guys, right, from different places. Bang, bang, boom. All these little things, right? Very cool. Now, if you wanted to add, like, that guy's too far away to add any little spines on him. You know, in my opinion, you wouldn't really see him way off there, right? We can come off of this little guy. Popping in little bits as we pull him off. Pull him off, pull him off. Come off the other side. Little things. All we need. That's all anyone's going to be looking for. A couple little streaks that are popping out like little spines. Bang! Just like that, right? Gorgeous. So, come down in here. Now, I think I was gonna, what the heck was I gonna do? I forgot my plan. We're gonna come in and clean up the edge where our little hands meet. That guy's nice and straight. This guy's all good over here. And then, one thing that we can do is, since we got Yeah, let's put it over here. We're going to take a little of our odorless mineral spirits again into our dark color, our dark pile, right? Mix that guy down so it's very runny, it's very wet, very thick. And maybe these guys had a couple little streaky little bits of branchies and different things popping up out of different places, right? Sometimes our little bushes, you get these crazy little things that pop up out of there. They're growing out in the night. Not everything is just a cactus, you know what I mean? A couple of wiggles, a couple of here, a couple of there. Little tree branches and little stuffs. A little thicker at the bottom, so you push on it a little bit harder. Skinnier up at the top. Give it a little trunk, right? All these little things grow out however they want to grow out. All different ways. And if you put it into this light, that light color, then it really stands out, right? Stands out as being in front. And come down here, kind of finish up the whole thing. And now you got this little stick stuck out in the night. Just out in the night. A little piece off of this guy too. Coming out every little where you can possibly think. Right, over here, over there, over there. Very cool. Couple little things, all you need. All you need in there. Now, that is just about that, guys. Let's throw in our last bit of stars. And unless I'm not thinking clearly, I'm pretty sure we're just about done here. So start coming up with a name for this guy. Let's pull out the bottom, just a very small amount, and that way we'd have some land underneath it. I never like when it's just kind of falling off the base. Add a little touch of our color there and there, just so it's not just straight black. And a little bit of our brown over there, swiping it out. Get these really cool things, guys. That's a neat looking desert kind of built all the way towards us, right? That's how you add that depth. Now, let's go back in, spray a few little stars. So, I'm gonna grab a little touch of our liquid white. It's about the only time we use liquid white on its own. Bring it out here like this, on the edge of the palette. And then when we drag our brush through it, it's going to bend the bristles backwards and then launch them forward and throw out just about 1 billion stars all at once. So, be careful, right? Do too many or it's too globby, or your brush is too wet, and they'll look like there's way too many out there in the sky. Just like that. Fantastic. Just epic. Oh, you know what I was going to do? I was going to put a little desert rose on there just to show you how. Just to show you how. Let's get our little liner brush back out. Let's come down in here, back into that liquidy dark paint so we can make like a little bulbous thing. We need our filbert brush as well. Into our dark color, and we can put it off of our cactus. Maybe we, like this, just a little bulb. Just have a little thing popping out. All it is the new growth of a new arm that's waiting to be pollinated, right? Off of this guy, we're gonna draw this little stick, like a little, the hell is it called? A stem, a little stem out that way with our dark paint, right? Just so it stands out. I'm gonna wipe off all the dark off of the brush, clean it up, get it all out of there, bring in our liquid white, and maybe a touch of our red. Be this beautiful pinkish little flower out here. Now, depending on what yours looks like, you know what I mean? You can decide what you want it to look like. I'm not the best at drawing little flowers, so we're just gonna kind of come in, little things, drawing it around, just little bits at a time. Maybe a little longer over there, a little bit over there. And then I'm just gonna add in a bit of a different color to be like a bloom or the center or whatever, you know what I mean? Again, I don't paint flowers, so over here, over there. If you know how to do them better, then take the whole tutorial and make a better flower, and I'll praise you for it. We're gonna take our liquid white and our yellow and try to dab into the center just so we get a little different color in there. Maybe it's a little pod. Maybe there's a little flick out where there's, you get those little nectar things, it's blooming. It's something happening down there. Looks pretty cool to me. Now, let's go back in, get the color off of this guy, go add in the family, and you guys start coming up with a name for this painting. What do you think it should be called? And the best title wins, unless it gets purchased, and then the person that buys it gets to name it. Now, maybe out here, we come flying in with the old fam. You have to caw when you make your birds. You have to. It's a rule. If you don't, they're not going to come out as good as if you did. Down in here. Over there. Little J, little K. Just kidding, guys. I'm a jokester. Just kidding. Long ass PaintWithBram liner brush. Just like that. Now, well, guys, this one came out amazing. I can't wait to see your versions of it. Please make sure to send yours into facebook.com/PaintWithJosh. And until I see you guys again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day. And bye-bye. Do you want some bloopers? Because here they come. Hi, guys. Welcome back to Paint with Josh. Today we did a 16 by 20 inch canvas board of a desert scene in a moon that we used from another video. So I've attached both the videos. I can't wait to see your guys' version. What is going on? Here's when all the bloopers come in. Just want you guys to know that. Blooper City. Here we go. Hi, guys. Welcome back to Paint with Josh. Today we did a gorgeous 16 by 20 inch full moon that we used from our other painting. Why even mention that? Why? They've already seen the video, Josh. Why even mention that? Okay, let's do it again. Well, guys, I can't wait to see your version of this painting. It came out amazing. Please send yours in to PaintWithJosh. Messed up that whole thing. Hold on. Take two. Coming at ya. One time. Well, guys, I can't...